So I will begin by introducing myself. My name is Valeria Sanchez. I am a sophomore at UNLV, and this is my second year interning here. Not my second full year, I just started my second year, but it's cool because this year I get to intern in the VDC department. So I guess, what does it mean to be interning in the VDC department? I guess I will give you a little bit of a background story. I was interning first at the Showcase Mall last year as a PE intern. And although it was a great experience and I learned a lot, it was a little lonely. I was a little clueless sometimes. I didn't know what I was doing. And at times I kind of felt a little lost. I kind of lost track of the meaning of being there, of what my purpose being there was. And it was a little weird sometimes. But, as soon as I walked in through the door, the pre-con office, and I met Cliff, and I met Tyler, and I met all of my new mentors, the biggest thing that was stressed to me was like how important teamwork was. It was all a collaborative environment, and we learned that we couldn't do anything on our own. I especially learned that because coming from the Showcase, it was a very big turnaround from doing things on your own, sitting at your computer by yourself, finishing RFIs, finishing submittals, to sitting down, doing something more meaningful in VDC, and applying these new skills that I had learned. In VDC, in this short time that I've been here already, I've learned how to plan, I've learned how to set better goals, and I've learned how to be more independent. And these things have allowed me to do things like this. All of my mentors, Tyler, Chris, Sammy, Mike, all of them, even Cliff, they all tell me how to do things like this, from coordination to logistics planning, and how important these things are. These things that I never get to see out on the field that I finally get to see in the pre-con office, and how important they are. And this is a logistics plan that I got to do with Tyler, and then this is a render that I did for the Golden Guy. And I got to do this on my own and with Tyler's help, and I learned how to use Lumion and SketchUp and stuff. And all of this combination of skills allowed me to work on this. And this is kind of like the pride and joy of my presentation. It's the horse barn, the infamous horse barn. I guess it's for a guy named Mickey Hart from a band called the Grateful Dead. I don't know them. Maybe some of these guys in the office might know them personally too. They're a little old. But yeah. Okay. We'll take a look. Yeah.
Is this Fortnite?
No.
This doesn't sound like Grateful Dead.
So yeah, doing this allowed me to, feel a lot more confident because this is a project, this is a VDC project that I got to start, run, and finish all on my own. I took it upon myself to, make a plan, figure out what it was that I was going to be doing, how I was going to execute it, and how I was going to deliver it. With help from Jeff Walker and Cliff, I figured out how to do these things. And this is something that Cliff is always stressing, have a half glass full mentality. Always figure out, what you can learn from your mistakes, not where you failed. And to me, this is really important because I used to be a half glass empty person, and at times I still kind of am. But it's always a work in progress to kind of figure these things out. And now I realize that in reality, there really is nothing that I can't do. I am able to do everything that I set my mind to, and the world has no limitations. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's what I make of it. So yeah, I'm excited to continue interning and to hopefully improve my skills. And next year, I promise to be better than what I was this year. So yeah, thank you. Huh? Oh yeah.
See the drops. That's what we need.
So, yeah, so questions.
Well, more of a statement about, I love that I believe that's Lumion that you use for
Yeah.
Great job on the presentation and creating it a little less than 5 minutes to hit your mark. I think you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
It was great.
Great timing.
What would you say that, did you learn anything in the VDC department on how to interact with the pre-con department in trying to do any kind of takeoffs or anything that we could work on pre-con that VDC could help with?
Sort of. I haven't really gotten to work directly with other like departments within the pre-con office. A lot of it has been kind of like practice and training and stuff. But I did learn like the important connections that we can make through VDC and through like the other pre-con departments. Like again, like the horse barn. One of the cool things about it is that, yeah, it was a horse barn, but it had a really big impact in the background, you know, like a lot of business development going on in the background. So that was pretty interesting. But I do hope to continue to learn more a little bit about that. Like I would still like to, in the future, like, you know, meet with estimating or meet with like safety and stuff like that and actually kind of bring the two together to have a better understanding of how they work cohesively. Because right now I've been doing more of like kind of practicing what has already been done to sort of get like an introduction to it. But you know, eventually I want to be able to do it on my own with like the help of you guys and me going directly to you and saying, hey, you know, how do we do this? How do we do that? So right now I might not know exactly, but it is something that I want to learn. So yeah.
Is there anything within the BDC department that you hope to learn in moving forward that you didn't get to experience this summer?
Yeah, kind of. Well, yeah, there's actually a lot. There's so much that, that you could do. I want to get into VR. I didn't get to do it yet, but I want to throw this horse barn into VR and see how that works, play around a little bit with that. And then, yeah, because I think it's really cool. I think virtual reality is really cool. And, you know, just figuring out ways to, like, apply it into what we already do would be pretty nice. But that's one of the things that I'm kind of interested in. I'd like to get into more on, like, the cool techie side of it. But, yeah. Yes?
Can you give us an example of a time where maybe you were forced to step outside of your comfort zone or take a risk, and you know, how did it pay off for you?
That's kind of every day. It's kind of every day for me because I don't, as a person, I'm kind of shy. I'm a little awkward at times. And one of the things that I'm not really good at is asking questions. I don't know how to ask questions, and I'm not the greatest at asking the right questions. And so every day I kind of struggle with figuring out which questions to ask, when to ask questions. And the cool thing is, though, is that I have a great support system. And if I ever have a question, they're always going to be there to help me. But it's always a difficult thing for me to get up out of my chair and just, you know, just say, hey, you know, why am I doing this? What am I going to do later? All of these little things. But it is rewarding that I understand that now, because if I hadn't ever learned that part of myself, I don't think I would have ever gotten to the point where I am now. Like all of these cool things that you saw up here, like the rendering that I did for the Golden Guy, or this horse barn project, I would have never been able to do that if I hadn't stepped out of my comfort zone and say, hey, you know, I don't know how to do this right now, so, you know, can you teach me? Can you show me how to do this? Can you show me how to do that? And I realized, you know, you just open such a big door for yourself when you ask questions and when you do all of these things. And there's so many opportunities out there. You just have to know, like, you know, you have to know how you feel about it first, and then know that regardless, you know, you're always going to be able to answer and ask any question that comes your way. So, yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
You said that your last experience you felt a little bit lost.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do different now that you've gone through this
Mm-hmm.
experience? What would you do different back then?
I would definitely be more, what's the word? Like more, not nosy, but I would poke more at my other, you know, the other PEs or the safety or my PM and stuff, or even the superintendent. I would definitely be a little bit more nosy with them and ask them what they're doing, how are they doing it. Because I think a lot of it was that I didn't have a direct relationship with any of the other team. It was mostly with my mentor at the time. And she was like extremely helpful, but I wish that I did have more confidence to go up to the other team members and say, hey, what are you doing? I think just having been able to do that would have been completely more like beneficial, because I never got to ask them what it is that they were doing or why they were doing it. And I regret that a lot, because I know that shut down a lot of, I guess not opportunities, but a lot of meaningful connections I could have made. But now I'm trying to work on that, and I would definitely tell myself to just get over it and just walk into their office and ask them what they're doing, because that's what I was supposed to do. As an intern, they don't expect you to know anything. They expect you to go out and ask questions and learn things. And I think I set a wrong expectation for myself at the time. I think I pushed myself a little too much in a direction that wasn't necessarily the best. I wasn't doing it right because I wasn't asking questions. But that's something I would definitely go back and change. Yeah. Mikey. Mm-hmm.
I love that resources around you, the people that are around you are the best ones. In terms of other resources that you have, what were some that you used, and how did they help you, if they did, or if you didn't find any, that's totally okay as well.
Like other people or external resources, like in general?
Other resources, websites,
www.goolge.com. It's my best friend. Google, I messed the L, you're right. Google. I learned so much from Google. Any little question that I have, I Google it. And sometimes, though, I feel like sometimes I kind of limit myself with that, because instead of asking Tyler a question that might be related to something he knows, I ask Google. And I'm trying to get out of that habit, because I'd like to ask Tyler a few more questions, but definitely Google, with literally everything. There was a word I didn't know. I think I talked to Cliff about it too. It might have been something like conflict management or something. I had never heard of that before. I didn't know what it was, and it's not exactly related to VDC, but I looked it up and I figured it out. So honestly, don't be afraid to use Google. Don't let anyone shame you for using Google.
There's a course on LinkedIn for that.
For Google?
No.
Oh, conflict management. I'll look into it then. But yeah. Any more questions? Comments?
So you're at UNLV, right?
Yes.
How are your resources at UNLV for the VDC technology side of things versus what you encountered? Okay, that's the question.
Yeah, non-existent. Non-existent, no. Everything I'm going to learn related to VDC is going to be in this internship. I don't think, Cliff's always saying it, there isn't a VDC degree. There isn't anything like that, and if they tell you there is, they're lying. Because it's always changing and it's constantly evolving. But I think even though it's like that, there are still a lot of things that I'm learning in school that I could directly apply into here, because I'm taking some art classes right now, and some of those things are like some of the little techniques. Even though it's going from paper to digital, a lot of the things still carry into digital. So it's pretty cool, but for VDC, I'm probably not going to find support at UNLV. No.
Is there like labs or like tech labs?
No, not really. Mm-mm.
Old piece into UNLV.
Donation.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
A great job, great delivery, and great presentation.
Thank you.
Great job. And you answered a lot of safety questions on the safety and training.
Oh, yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
You also learned something last year.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
didn't learn that in BDC.
No, not for safety.
Not that BDC doesn't care about safety.
We talk about safety all the time.
No, that's great. Well, you definitely seem energized about the technology side of it. Is that the direction that you now really want to focus
Yeah.
your career on?
Yeah, if I could go to school for VDC, I would, but UNLV doesn't offer anything like that.
Man, you drank the Kool-Aid. You drank Cliff's Kool-Aid. Good job, Cliff. Yeah. Nice job. You did a good
Yeah,
job.
thank you.
Well, I do commend you too for giving us a second chance at the internship. It seems like the first one may
Yeah.
not have been as expectations
Yeah.
and, you know, in the BDC department.
Mhm.
I agree with Rod. I mean, the energy you have now from when you first started is, you know,
Yeah.
you were the most quietest person too in pre-con.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I'm trying to work on that. But like interning at BDC though was, cause like halfway through my PE internship, I remember talking to Cliff for the first time, and I was like, hey, can I intern for BDC? Cause I think Jenna was our BDC intern at the time. And I wanted to do that because in high school I was in the architecture program for 4 years, and we did a lot of modeling and rendering and stuff, and I missed it. So I was like, hey, can I come here? And he's like, no, wait for your PE internship to be over, wait for that to kind of wrap up. And I completely forgot about it for 6 months, and then once my project was closing out, my mentor was like, hey, Cliff kind of asked about you joining BDC. Like, are you interested? And I was like, yeah, please, take me away. I'm sorry, Cassie. No, she wasn't my mentor, but she was the person that I interviewed with. Okay.
Twice in a row.
I know. Catching a train.
But yeah. Any more questions, comments? Cool.
Nice job.
Thank you. Okay.